Last year's #1 overall seed, the Auburn Tigers, they have now lost 5 games in a row thanks to Josh Hubbard and Mississippi State. 91-85 the final score in Starkville. And Auburn's NCAA tournament hopes are fading by the loss. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Patrick Walsh. Patrick, you and I picked this game to end off yesterday's show. I believe we both picked Auburn. It's like, hey, this is a good chance to stop the bleeding, wait for these last few games, try to end up on a good note, secure your spot. They were 8, 9, maybe 10 seed, according to most bracketologists. This one stings big time.
Yeah, and you talked about it on the show yesterday, if I recall. You said Josh Hubbard was going to get his points.
Oh, yeah.
But Auburn was going to pull out the win. And I don't think I could picture a more demoralizing way to lose a game other than a guy making 10 three-pointers.
Right.
And he just couldn't miss. And it seemed like it was the same old broken record over and over and over again. He took 16 three-pointers. Again, this is a guy that's probably the closest thing to a modern-day Carmelo Anthony.
Yes, yeah.
And he broke his own program record. I believe it was 4 three-pointers in a game not too long ago. It's 10. It's 10 now. And he scored 46 points to power Mississippi State over Auburn. I mean, if you're Auburn, you just can't buy a win right now.
Right.
And it's really unfortunate because I want to see Stephen Pearl have success. But it's getting late so quickly. I don't know if they can rebound from this mentally.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
This one's hard because Mississippi State had a double-digit lead. I believe it was 14, 15 points. Auburn storms back. They take the lead. They were up by 7 with about 7, 8 minutes to go in the game. Then Mississippi State comes all the way right back. I just feel like you're almost in a situation where I think if you're Auburn, I have no idea how you pick yourself up both physically and mentally, because that is a grind just to get back into the game. And then to be able to, and then go back and lose that game on that kind of performance. And I think if you're Auburn too, you're like, hey, the scouting report said, just like we're talking about with scouting reports with Michaela Blakes and others, the scouting report said, hey, you got to stop Hubbard, and they haven't been able to do it. And once again, it's another loss, and it's another ding to their NCAA tournament resume.
I mean, the Tennessee one is I feel indifferent about it just because they've been so good at home. The Alabama one hurts because that was your chance to win at home against Alabama, and you just couldn't win the track meet. Vanderbilt, again, another one of those games where you could have won because you were at home, but it almost feels like the Jungle isn't really a home court advantage anymore.
No.
It feels like just another average arena.
Right.
And the Arkansas game, Bud Walton, that's a tough place to play, but the Mississippi State one, I mean, those Bulldogs are feisty. They're sneaky good. They knocked off Texas earlier in the year, and they can really throw a wrench into some of these teams' plans.
Yeah.
It's just really weird to see an Auburn team in a free fall like this.
Right, and they obviously got a great game from Keyshawn Hall, who scored 29 points in the game. But the key to the player of the game was definitely Hubbard. But there you see Hall's numbers. It was a little interesting because he was in street clothes a couple days ago, and then gets out there, gets on the court, and gets it done. 8 of 17 there from the floor, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, had 10 rebounds. So as you see there, got the double-double. Just did not get enough help there in this one. Todd Pettiford came back. He had 21 points in this game. It just feels to me like an Auburn team. Both teams are 5-8, but both teams feel like very different 5-8 teams in the SEC. The Mississippi State team, as you said, they're feisty, they're spunky. I think that they know that they're probably at a talent disadvantage to most of the teams in the league. It does feel like Auburn, though, is just underperforming overall.
Yeah.
Talented team, underperforming.
Yeah, and you bring up Keyshawn Hall being in street clothes, and we heard from Stephen Pearl that he was suspended by the team, not by like the NCAA or the conference or anything. It was a self-imposed suspension for failing to meet team standards. Stop me if you've heard that before this year, Auburn fans. I mean, Pettiford.
We were talking about this in Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Pettiford didn't start some games, but Pettiford means a little bit too much to Stephen Pearl for him to be able to pull the trigger and say, hey, you're out this game.
Right.
But why is this still a thing? I mean, it blows my mind, because it's not like Stephen Pearl is an outside coming in. I mean, he's taking over the reins for his father, and he was with the program last year, but he's unable to keep these guys in line for some reason, and it's so weird, and it almost feels like, you know how sometimes the coaches lose the locker room?
Yeah.
It almost feels like they don't really take him that serious.
And some people, it feels like they've kind of mentally checked out in a lot of ways. And it's not the time to do it, because as of right now, the tournament started right now. I think Auburn's still possibly in, maybe a 10 seed, maybe an 11 seed. They're possibly in. The thing I think about this squad, about this Auburn team, as they move forward, is who do they want to be? Are they going to be the team that went to Florida, stepped up, got it done, and got the win? Because we keep talking about the losses, but, I mean, if you're going to look glass half full, they probably do have the best win, or one of the best wins in the SEC, going to Florida and winning.
It makes less sense by the day.
Yes.
I think they're out right now.
Right.
I can't justify them making the tournament if the season were to end today, even with the Florida loss. I mean, you're 4-10 in quad 1 games, 2-2 in quad 2. Last night's game was a quad 2 game.
Right.
And that tells you a lot right there.
Yeah. Especially
it being on the road, a road quad 2 game in the SEC, and you lose that. You just cannot have that at all. And again, I almost feel like there's the inherent BCS bias that we saw in football, where you'd much rather lose games earlier in the season than down the stretch. And it almost kind of feels that way, like they're trying to limp into the tournament.
Right.
I feel like a lot of fans have kind of checked out too. I'm starting to see a lot of NIT comments.
Right. And I think the committee, it's because the committee is made up of humans. It's not made up of computers. The committee is made up of humans, and what they're last seeing is a team that doesn't feel like they belong in the best 68. Now, they could turn it around over the last 4 games and get it done. But we talked a lot about Darius Acuff, getting those 49 points in a losing effort. Well, Josh Hubbard, he got the big win, and he also got the big win, but he also had the monster day on the stat sheet, the 46 points there in this one. His head coach, Chris Jans, talked about Hubbard's performance in Starkville.
He's been different lately. He's got a buoyancy about him. He's got a giddy up in his step. He just has. I don't know exactly why. Sometimes with him, it's like he's pitching a perfect game, and I don't want to talk to him. I literally don't try to stay away from, other than scheme and what we need to talk about. But that's how I look at that kind of thing, and didn't really want to talk about it at halftime with any of the coaches either. We just talked about what we normally talk about. But that kid obviously is super special. He keeps showing me ways to continue to talk about him. Like, for instance, during the game, they're late. He says, "Coach, you got to use me as the decoy for a couple plays." He knows his body, and it takes a lot of energy and torque to do some of the things that he does. And of course, it's like, okay. And then in the last timeout, the 3:44 timeout, he was unbelievable. Certainly as a coach, you're trying to gain some momentum and get some energy and, pump some life back into your players after they overtook the lead, and then all of a sudden it was 7, and, it looked pretty dire there in that timeout. And the coach is going to try to get him back moving in the right direction, but he was doing the same thing. And I thought they were responsive to him. And, again, he could have easily gotten his own little world and says, hey, I'm having an unbelievable night, and, if we lose, we lose. But he's not built like that. And so another example of him finding ways to show everybody, what he's all about.
So Mississippi State blew an 18-point lead, came back, won the game. There was at one point in this game where Auburn had 33 points and Josh Hubbard had 35. He scored 35 points in the first half. Ended up with 46. Obviously, Auburn clamped down in the second half, scored a lot of points there at the free throw line. There you see those 10 three-pointers. That is a new program record. I think if you're Mississippi State, you have to just absolutely love what you're seeing from Hubbard.
Yeah, and it almost feels like they've started to embrace. I don't know if I want to say they're starting to embrace the role of spoiling team seasons, but I mean, that's kind of the mentality that you have to have here. I don't think it would take a miracle for them to make the tournament. I
Right.
believe they sit in 13-12 right now. They
Yeah,
might be,
they're 13-13.
okay, so they're right at 500. They
Yeah.
would probably need to win out and get a few more big wins. I don't remember exactly who they play down the stretch, but if they have a few good ranked matchups,
Cupcakes, yeah.
I would more so say if they've like.
Oh,
ranked
you're saying
teams,
the other way. If they have tougher opponents, then they can do it.
Could
I'm actually
potentially
pulling their
get some
schedule up as we
resume
speak.
boosters right there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you sit at 13-13 right now. Don't really have. What do they got?
Okay, so I mean, it's a stretch where I think you could play your way in. Probably need some miracles. They're at South Carolina, which
Should win that.
should win that
You
one. It's
definitely need to win
last,
that.
Yeah, last place team in the league. Then at Alabama, which that would be tough, but it would be a
We just
resume
talked about
booster.
Acuff and Phylon. I mean,
Yeah.
Hubbard versus Phylon. That would be something I'm looking forward to.
Special. Then they got Missouri, who just pulled off a big win over Vanderbilt.
Big one.
Then at Florida, which would be huge.
That's the one.
Yeah, and then at home against Georgia to close out the season. So
If you go, I'm tempted to say 4-1, but I think they do need to go 5-0. If you go
Right.
4-1, you need to win like 2 games in the tournament, and then I think you're
Correct,
in.
yeah.
6-1 in your last in the next 7 games. I think they're in.
in the game that they could afford to lose, probably at Florida or at Bama, they need to
At
pull
Bama.
off the upset.
They need to.
Against one of those.
They need to pull off. They need to. If they're going to lose a game, it needs to be at Alabama.
Yeah, and
Like,
then
'cause the Florida one means a ton more.
right, and Florida's the second to last game, so maybe they can catch Florida. You know, maybe
Maybe they're
catch them
resting?
sleeping. Yeah, maybe some resting some guys. So it's,
They should have the SEC locked up by that point. I think they have
Right.
a 2-game lead now with the loss last night.
yes, they do have a.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let me pull that back up, the updated one. Yeah, they have a 2-game lead.
2-game lead, yeah.
Florida's 11-2. Bama, Arkansas, and Tennessee are all 9-4. So yeah, it's a 2-game lead right now, and I think nobody wants to play Mississippi State right now. I think nobody wants to play Missouri either right now. But Mississippi State, that is for sure one of the big nights there for them. We talked a little bit earlier about Keyshawn Hall there as well.